The goal of defending your Christian worldview is not to persuade someone in error that you're right, but to persuade someone in darkness to follow you into the light. That'll really determine who it is that is leading you to defend your worldview. Is it God, or is it your own selfish pride that you just want to prove yourself right? To this day, I've had the help that comes from God. And so I stand here testifying, both to small and great, saying nothing but what the prophets and Moses said would come to pass, that the Christ must suffer, and that by being the first to rise from the dead, he would proclaim, say this with me, church, the message of light, both to our people and to the Gentiles. After sharing his past reality, look guys, I used to be just like you. I used to want to kill guys like me. Now he's saying, not only do I not see the world that way anymore, I don't see anything the same way as I used to. Now that I've seen the light and realized, oh my goodness, I was wrong about the Son of God. Once you realize that you were wrong about the Son of God, the next question should be, what else am I wrong about? And it will be, maybe I'm wrong about me. Maybe I see my whole life wrong. Man, maybe I should just have him tell me what reality is and go by him. That's what happened to Paul. He went from darkness to light. But did you notice what he said about Satan? Jesus said to Paul, I'm sending you to go out and rescue people out from the clutches of Satan. Now that's Jesus saying that. What's keeping this angry mob so angry is that their hearts and their minds are in error because they're in darkness, kept there by the prince of darkness himself. Later on, Paul would go on to write about what he discovered about Satan. Can I show you? Anybody interested? Okay. Paul says, Satan, who is the God, lowercase g, of this world, has blinded the minds of those who don't believe. Are you thinking about somebody that you know who doesn't believe? Look what it says. Now this is the Bible. They're unable to see the glorious light of the good news. They don't understand this message about the glory of Christ, who is the exact likeness of God. Satan blinds the minds of unbelievers, keeping them imprisoned to a few things. He keeps them in prison to false systems of philosophy, like what I think about why the world exists. He keeps them in prison to false sciences, false religions, false ideologies and concepts about who or what God is. That was Paul before he saw the light. John explains with perfect specificity why people hate the light. No one would hate the light, right? Everybody wants truth, right? Wrong. John explains why people hate the light. He says it like this. Whoever believes in him, Jesus, is not condemned. But whoever does not believe in is condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of the only Son of God. And this is the judgment, that the light, that means truth, the light, truth, has come into the world. And people love the darkness rather than the light. Why? Because their works were evil. Before I read on, picture yourself in a dark room doing something that you know are not supposed to do, like a little kid, maybe peeking at your Christmas presents before you were supposed to, okay? And you do it in darkness. You snuck out in the middle of the night. You certainly don't want somebody coming on and flipping on the light switch, do you? Why? Because your deeds are exposed. John is saying that happens whenever someone hears the truth. Their conscience tells them, oops, someone just turned the light on in my soul. And I'm exposed. But they hate it. That's what it's saying. Keep reading. People love the darkness rather than the light because their works were evil. For everyone who does wicked things hates the light. And they don't come into the light lest his works should be exposed. But whoever does what is true, they come to the light so that it may be clearly seen that his works have been carried out in God. You're here today, listen, you've come into the light today, you're hearing the word preached, and you say, I want to come there because all I want is the truth, even if it hurts, because I want God. There's only one reason why this mob in Paul's day hates Paul and hates hearing about Jesus. It's because they love their sin. That's it. There isn't a plan B, there isn't an option 2. The reason they hate Paul and the reason they hated Jesus is because they love the darkness. And why do they love the darkness? It's because they think darkness equals happiness. The stuff I do in the dark makes me feel happy. I get power and pleasure there. And if someone tampers with my power and pleasure source, get him. Because life is hard and I just want to be happy. So if I'm happy in the dark, leave me alone. That's what you ever seen that happen? Friends, the final step that Paul took in his own heart as he stood alone was to prepare. I know they're going to reject me, but I love Jesus. I'm going to tell them anyway. Let me offer you 2 final practical principles to help cultivate a heart and mind ready for continued contempt, okay? You have to be ready. Here are 2 ways to get you ready. First, decide today whose approval you seek. Decide before you leave, whose approval am I going to seek? Paul said it plainly in Galatians 1. Am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Or am I trying to please man? If I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ. If you decide today, listen to me, to live for God, you will eventually come into conflict with the world. Live for God, come into conflict with the world. It's going to happen. If you live for the world, you're eventually going to come into conflict with God. James, the brother of Jesus, said it like this. He said, don't you realize? Friendship with the world, like standing with the mob, the masses, it makes you an enemy of God. I say it again, if you want to be a friend of the world, to have herd mentality, that's literally what that is. You make yourself an enemy of God. Decide this day whom you will serve. Decide this day whose approval you ultimately seek. This could mean the difference between you compromising your faith or standing strong in it. Second practical principle, and then we're done. Decide today what rewards you seek. My friends, if you want some immediate gratification, you can have it. The world offers you all kinds of places to get some immediate gratification. You can make any part of your flesh feel good at any moment. Anytime you want it, you can have it. But I'm telling you this, listen very closely to me. Please don't tune me out, please. As soon as you have that one thing that you think it'll make me feel so good, whatever that is, it's dying. It's dying. If it's a man who looks really fine, he's dying. That fineness is going to grow ugly eventually. If it's a woman whose body you think is great, I'm telling you, it's dying. If it's a house, beautiful, the wood is dying. It's a car, nice car you've always wanted, that metal is rusting, especially on the island. Whatever it is, those immediate gratifications, they're all dying. But the rewards of heaven are eternal and they never rust. They are promised to everyone who calls Christ their King and remains devoted to Him unto death. Jesus wants to make sure you know this. So look, as we're closing, look what Jesus says to all of His followers so that you'll understand this promise. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when others revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Why, Jesus? Why? Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Decide today what rewards you seek. You want the world's rewards? You can have it. They're going to die. You want rewards that will never rust, never fade, and will be eternal? They're waiting for you. Just stand firm in your faith and let God handle the rest. Hey friends, Pastor Luke just wanted to take a quick second to say thank you for watching the video. If you found it to be edifying and encouraging, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. For more videos and sermons like this, or to watch the full-length sermon, you can find it right here on our YouTube channel or by visiting our website, www.hopeoflbi.com.